Thanks for the introduction, J. Bob. Yeah, I served 32 years in the Navy, 27 of those as a SEAL. I'm also, along with J. Bob and a couple others here, we're on the board of the Montrose Veterans Memorial Coalition. And just want to let you guys know that we're getting closer every day to putting a memorial here on the western slope for our veterans. It's going to be a place of healing, reflection, and education, and thank you for your support for that. It's kind of random, but my 35th anniversary, 37th, fell today on Memorial Day, so real quick, I want to say my wife, I love her, and thank you for supporting me in my military career. I want to share a short story about my wife's father, my father-in-law, Master Sergeant Sergio Barrero, United States Army, retired. Sergio served 2 infantry tours in Vietnam. His first tour was in the Ai Drang Valley in the Central Highlands. He was, those battles were characterized in the book We Were Soldiers, Once and Young, and there was a movie by Mel Gibson there describing that. It was a very bloody campaign. He lost a lot of men in his platoon. And toward the end of his tour there, his one-year tour there, they were assigned a new young captain of their platoon. And they got some intelligence that on the edge of a clearing, there were some North Vietnamese soldiers moving on the edge of the clearing, about 15. Well, the young captain had the concept, we're going to go in with a platoon, we're going to do a search and destroy mission in this clearing. Well, Sergio, being the platoon sergeant at this point, one of the most experienced soldiers, after a year in combat, went to the young captain and said, "Sir, if we see 15 or 20, that means there are at least 3 times that many that we can't see." Undeterred, the captain ordered the platoon and 3 Huey helicopters to land in the LZ. Unbeknownst to them, there were over 1,000 NVA soldiers encamped in that jungle where they landed. As the first 2 helicopters landed, they were completely shredded. The young captain was killed immediately. The rest of the men were either killed or injured. Sergio's helicopter landed. He was able to disembark, and they fought in a gunfight for quite a while. And the Huey helicopter pilot, seeing the ambush and the melee, quickly turned around through a hail of gunfire and picked up as many wounded and living soldiers as he could. The co-pilot was killed. The crew chief was killed. The soldier sitting next to my father-in-law, his artery was severed, and Sergio spent the time trying to staunch that on their way out. The helicopter crash landed away from the NVA, close enough to where the 1st Cav could come rescue those soldiers. Of the 26 men in his platoon, 8 survived that mission. That turned out to be Sergio's last combat mission of his first infantry tour in Vietnam. And on the way out, before heading back to the States, they sent him to out-processing in Da Nang. And there, this is what he remembers. He was told over and over again, don't tell anyone about what you experienced over here. Don't tell your family, don't tell your friends, don't tell anyone about it. They're not going to understand. Keep it to yourself. And so for 45 years, he told no one. He didn't tell his wife. He didn't tell his family. He didn't tell his daughter, my wife. He didn't tell his son. He didn't tell his coworkers. Then about 15 years ago, Sergio reached out to me. I was on active duty. I had an English major. And he said, "Lance, I want to write down my experiences. I want to give them to the Fort Hood Historical Museum, and I'd like you to edit them for me." I said, "Of course, Sergio, whatever you need." So he sent me his remarks. English was not being his first language. He's from Puerto Rico. And I about fell out of my chair reading his story. But there's one particular paragraph I'd like to read to you today. He says, "For 45 years, I heeded that advice, and I decided to leave those awful memories of Vietnam behind. I found it very difficult to talk about my experiences, but with age comes wisdom. I finally realized that by failing to talk about my experience, I'd failed in 3 ways. First, I failed to honor those brave young men I served with who gave their lives for our country. Second, I failed to honor the bravery of the soldiers who returned with me, including 8 members of my recon platoon who survived the ambush. Finally, I failed myself and my family by burying the memories of Vietnam rather than dealing with them. By now, I've forgotten half the names of those I served with in the Central Highlands, but the faces, the smells, the sounds, and the experiences will be with me forever. I'm now 75 years old, and I intend to honor those brave men every chance I get for the rest of my life. I don't think we could write a better reason for why we celebrate Memorial Day. By remembering their sacrifice, honoring their service, we keep our departed military brothers and sisters in our hearts and our minds. Because maybe there's no worse thing than being forgotten. Maybe it's a fate worse than death, that our sacrifice would be forgotten, that our service to our country would be meaningless, that no one would know what we did for our country. But on this hallowed day, we look across this field at all these fallen, departed here and around the world, and we say together and to their families, you are not forgotten. Your service burns in our heart. Your sacrifice will be forever remembered. Thank you. God bless America.
Thank you very much, man.